The mid to late 90s was the time for 3D games to shine. Fighting games in particular stood out since the idea of moving around a 3D plane was still a new concept and many companies had a crack at trying to get it right. Not everyone who tried succeeded or had long-term success, and sadly, Zoom's Zero Divide series was one such casualty. Today I will be looking at the second game, Zero Divide 2. This game was released in 1997 in Japan before Sony themselves gave the game a European release in 1998. Sadly, the American market never got this game, which is a shame, but hey, the original game isn't exactly remembered fondly. I do own it, so maybe we should cover it one day. Now, let's see if Zero Divide 2: The Secret Wish is worth a second look. The game doesn't really have a cutscene or anything to begin with. This is highly strange at a time where video openings were very prevalent. If you wait a moment, you do get a sort of intro which I shall show here. If you hit the story mode on the menu screen, the game will basically tell you what's going on in the game and what your goal is.
Sometime in the 21st century, after the release of a secret data library by a group of mysterious hackers caused shock to the information bureaus around the world, commonly known as the Xtal Tower incident, it was finally brought to its end by destructing the suspected virtual program Xtal, which controlled the library. The operation was almost a success that the information confusion was reduced to the minimum. Out of the data collected after Xtal's breakdown, some information regarding the mysterious group they thought pulled the hack was retrieved. As a result of the investigation, the existence of some people whom the information bureaus thought to have conspired as a group came to light, and thus the search began.
The cutscenes here look fantastic actually, and the artwork is first class.
The worldwide chase to track down the escaping hackers took a year to succeed, and the perpetrators were finally identified. Shortly thereafter, 4 individuals from various countries were rounded up and taken to custody. These individuals created the suspected virtual program to become the root of the incident and release them over the network, eventually to develop as the Xtal Tower Library. They seem to have acted in accordance with one particular belief. Surprisingly, they were not directly acquainted and have never met each other personally. A few years ago, the 4 met over the network, referred to each other using code names alone, and maintained a relationship.
The voiceover, on the other hand, is not. The man constantly stutters and doesn't pronounce his words properly half the time. It ruins the otherwise excellent presentation of the story. It's safe to say that Zoom hired an untrained individual and perhaps had no more money to hire a professional. Perhaps they should have hired me. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, that's not important since, after all, this is a fighting game. When you pick a character, there's quite a few to choose from. You can unlock 2 more characters to use in the game, but we'll get there later on. Personally, I used 3 characters. First, Pixel, this woman rabbit nurse medic robot thing. Zero, who looks cool actually and has this double kick move that I love. It's like swatting a fly, but with my foot, baby. Lastly, I used Eve, who's naked. At least I think she's naked? Eve is the final boss of the single player mode, so... As for the gameplay, Zero Divide 2 is a 3D fighting game. The arenas vary from enclosed spaces such as a hospital or open areas like this Arctic-inspired area here. Most of the locations do at least have a wall or two to jog your foes against, and let me tell you, managing to pin them there is well fun to do. As for the controls, there's a block, punch and kick button. Pressing the punch and kick buttons together turns into a grab, which you can then change up by hitting various direction buttons to get different results. You can also run, sidestep and dash too. In other words, Zero Divide 2 has the tools to compete with other 3D fighting games of its time, although it doesn't push any boundaries. Thankfully, every character behaves differently, thus you cannot expect to pick one character and then immediately master another. Pixel's moves require multiple taps of the directional pad to execute more devastating attacks while pressing punch and or kick at the same time. Zero's moveset focuses more on pressing the punch or kick buttons multiple times. In other words, press a direction, then use the face buttons in quick succession to get a second or even third attack to catch foes off guard. The double flip kick, as I call it, is definitely my favourite move of his. Yeah, fuzz off you insolent fool! Eve? Well, she seems to be mostly overpowered. Her moveset is heavy damaging attacks that, if they land, will completely destroy anyone in her path. The moves are also fairly easy to pull off, thus getting through the single player mode of Eve was pretty quick. Other gameplay aspects to note include actually being able to get back into the ring when you are forced out, and you can even hang and shimmy from side to side. I wish more fighting games did this. I also found out you can do mid-air recoveries, which helped out a few times during my playthrough. Lastly, and most importantly, the character's armour can be broken off during battle. Every character has many pieces that over the course of battle will break in spectacular fashion. The best part about this feature is that it will stay until all the rounds are completely finished. Seeing the bare shell of characters after finally finishing a fight is very satisfying to witness. Unlike Sega's Fighting Vipers, where the armorless characters would receive more damage, this is a purely cosmetic design choice. The characters will take the same amount of damage even if the characters are completely stripped to the core. I wish more games had this feature. It's brilliant. What about the controls, I hear you asking? Well, overall I would say it's Tekken 2 quality-esque controls, meaning it can be a little slow to your inputs and you need to take time with how you choose to attack. No, it's not awful, and once you get used to the pacing, it's a lot of fun. Admittedly, trying to jump and stomp or body slam opponents was a bit more of a hassle than I'd like to admit, and I don't completely know how to sidestep. It just seems to happen when the game feels like it. Bottom line, not bad, not amazing, it just works. Yes, there are better fighting games, but considering what we have here along with the fact that these characters aren't human, the controls work well enough. As for the other aspects of the game, the graphics are really nice. Colourful, detailed and pretty convincing. The use of 3D characters and walls along with high quality 2D backgrounds really adds to the immersion. I mean, have you ever seen a 2D background on the PlayStation 1 look that good? The animations are solid too. Zoom really improved a lot here from the first game, and the efforts don't go unnoticed. The frame rate is a constant 50 frames per second due to its European nature, yet feels PAL optimized, unlike the Tekken games of yesteryear, for example. Clearly, the PlayStation could produce great results when used to its full potential. Although Tekken 3 looks better, you can't say this game looks bad, not even slightly. The sound effects are pretty good too. The clash of metal, the thuds of hitting the ground and wall impacts are well done, and there's a decent variety of sound effects to keep the blood pumping. I've always said good sound makes you want to continue playing games for longer since you feel satisfied with what's occurring in front of you. Zero Divide 2 does well in this department. Even the voice acting is interesting. I mean, admittedly, it's kind of hard to hear what they're saying sometimes, but it's not bad and it does fit the robotic theme the game is going for. Mind you, this is nothing compared to the soundtrack. Man, this game delivers on that front. The music presented here is nothing short of utterly fantastic. While I'm not able to precisely determine what type of soundtrack this is, who cares? I love it. Every song is long, full of fantastic and memorable melodies, plus it's just damn catchy too. I don't know if Zoom's in-house music team composed this or an outside composer, but whoever worked on the music needs a medal. It's that good. It's so good actually that if you never played the game, give the official soundtrack a listen. It now features regularly in my car or computer whenever I work on a script, just like now as we speak. No doubt about it, this is the best part of the game by a huge margin. Oh, before I forget, when you reach the last boss, Eve, this is how she introduces herself.
Welcome. I have been waiting for you. I have access to all the information in this network, and I have been given the authority to move in complete freedom by Master Exec. But I can't understand the reason why I am here. Why you have come to destroy me? And why were you tolerated to do such a thing? I will not allow that. Come, yield and give in. You shall become part of me. And then tell me, why do I exist?
And then, when you win, you get a very short, unique cutscene.
It's over now.
I wonder if she'll be alright. I just don't get it. Nobody can wipe me out?
And then these
Without
credits.
even knowing its own reason for existing, the large-scale network program referred to as Eve was brought to its end. For the Extel hackers who never had any political background, Eve was their own, an entity who was bound to rule over the network. For them, the network program was a way of life. Though it was supposed to be their ultimate symbol, they have left an opportunity to cause its destruction. Rather than claim it like a challenge to humanity, kind of an exaggerated theme, it was probably more like a game that had gone too far. An action without any real purpose, a fact they have even noticed and knew beforehand. If, from now on, the speed of the communication circuits greatly improve, and softwares like the offensive program unit exist and disperse data over the network, and on its own free will lurk around the world's network, and if that time is indeed coming near, who can tell what we may have in the future? And if the future gets controlled, what good does it bring the human race? And yet, a godlike domain remains too far to reach.
Not exactly the best way to end the character's journey, but it could be worse, right? That was Zero Divide 2: The Secret Wish. I had a lot of fun playing this game. I found it much better than expected. It's just a shame that many people will never know or even attempt to play this game. It's a solid playable experience that just got overlooked by many more successful 3D fighting games of its time. Heck, even Battle Arena Toshinden 2 was more successful, which is saying a lot. Still, if you can, give this overlooked game a chance. If not, at least listen to the music. It's pure satisfaction. Oh, and before I forget, this game also saw a release on the Sega Saturn in Japan only. And yes, you bet your life, one day I will get that port, just you wait. Alright, let me know what you think of Zero Divide 2, and until my next video, I will see you soon.